I made a video saying that I will convince you to leave the UK in under 15 minutes. I think I was quite successful in convincing quite a few people to at least try out life outside the UK. But naturally, one of the questions that kept coming up in the comment section was, okay, I'm convinced to leave the UK, but how do I know where to go, how to go about it, etc. And so that is what I want to share with you guys today. I can't just give out a list of countries to go to because it's obviously going to depend on what your priorities are. Everyone has different backgrounds, different things they want out of moving abroad. But what I can do is try and provide a framework as someone who has lived in 3 different countries over the last 2 years, essentially. So that's what I'm going to be doing in today's video.
You may have seen from my newsletter or my other social medias that I've been going through what I have called an identity transition, which is essentially that transition from being a corporate employee to an entrepreneur. And the reality of that is that it comes with a lot of new learning, a lot of new reskilling. So for me, I've been focused mainly on working on learning how to be better at B2B sales, but then also trying to get better at certain elements of my content. For the rest of the summer, I've been taking a few hours each day to just learn one of those new skills. And the platform that I've been using to do this is Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community with thousands of classes led by industry experts across topics like entrepreneurship, career switching, productivity, and so much more. And these classes can really be used to take your career, skills, hobbies to the next level. As we talk more about relocating countries and locations and career switching in this video, I'll show you more relatable classes that you can take on Skillshare. But I just wanted to let you know that the first 500 people who sign up to Skillshare using the link in my description box will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare.
If you're new here, my name is Lamide Elizabeth, and this channel follows my journey building wealth with no borders. So let's get into it. One of the first questions you must address is, what do you want to get out of moving abroad? So for me, I think you can kind of use these 3 factors to kind of guide you, but feel free to use whatever works for you. So for me, that is lifestyle, money, or career. So when I'm talking about lifestyle, perhaps you just want to experience living in a new country or practicing a new language or getting used to a new culture, or maybe you just want to be somewhere that is hot 24/7. When it comes to money, maybe you want to benefit from tax arbitrage, right? So maybe you want to experience living in a country with little taxes or no taxes, or on the other side, maybe you actually want to live somewhere where your cost of living is so much lower so that you can then experience maybe a higher quality of life or be able to save more. And then with career, maybe you want to add a new jurisdiction to your career portfolio, something that will give you the edge over your peers and your colleagues because you have an experience covering a portfolio or jurisdiction that other people don't have. So think about which one of those 3 factors is most important to you. You might want some sort of balance of all 3, but you should have like 1 or 2 lead factors. So for me, my order was money, lifestyle, career. I will caveat here by saying that I technically had the job offer and then I had to consider whether I wanted to move to Dubai or not. And then these factors came into play. But the reason why I had things in that order was it was actually something that my dad said to me. In 2 years, you can save what you would have saved in the UK in 4 years by going to Dubai because of like not paying taxes, etc. Money was definitely my first reason for wanting to go to Dubai. The second thing was more just lifestyle. I think I wanted to just have that experience of living elsewhere. One of the things that I like to do is like speak to people who are older than me, people in their 30s and 40s and who are in a position that, I would want to be in, so not just anyone, and then kind of ask them like, okay, what do you wish you would have done when you were younger? And a lot of them have said to me, I wish I went to different countries and lived in a different country because now that I have kids or a family or whatever, it's a lot harder to do that. So I know that it was something that I just wanted to experience. And then the reason why I would say career was last was not because it wasn't important, but it wasn't as important because, well, first of all, I passed up a promotion. I was going to get promoted in the January that I left in December, and I was going to get promoted that January to an associate. So I passed up a promotion. So, if you were someone who was like really trying to climb the ladder, then you probably wouldn't have done that. But then also when I would hear speeches from people who are more senior in their career, one of the things that they'd always advise if you wanted to really climb the ladders is to kind of make sure that you are in the strategic countries and offices for your industry. So for example, when it comes to banking, so for those who don't know, I used to work in investment banking. When it comes to banking, your major hubs are always going to be in New York and in London, I guess sometimes Singapore, but mainly New York and London. And I think when you're in those offices in New York, in London, where the companies tend to be bigger, there's usually a lot more roles, a lot more opportunities that are available to you. Whereas when you go to smaller offices, for some people, it can be a really big career opportunity because, you know, you can be the person who like expands the company into the region, etc. But generally, when it comes to career progression, it's usually a lot slower sometimes because, well, the offices aren't as big, there aren't as many opportunities to kind of move forward, and you tend to see a lot of people very stuck in their roles. People will generally tell you to kind of like stay in the big hubs. But if career was a primary focus for you, then one of your main decision factors need to be, in what other countries do my industries exist and exist at the level that I can benefit from them. So let's say, for example, if you were into engineering, then you might want to look at places or countries that have a big oil and gas sector, and narrow down your countries by that, because at least you will know that if they have a big oil and gas sector, then they're probably going to have quite a few engineering jobs available. You also want to see if you can work remotely. Obviously, since the pandemic, we've had a lot more companies allow you to work remotely, and so that can be a really good opportunity to not have to let your career be limited by the fact that you want to move around to different countries. So maybe you could just ask for a more remote role, and then kind of move around based on that. But then usually I tend to find that, especially for UK companies, they tend to still have certain restrictions, like, you know, you can't leave Europe or you can't even leave the UK and stuff like that. And I do think that for some industries like banking, like you're hardly ever, especially in investment banking, you're hardly ever going to get a fully remote role. Like, you're even lucky to get hybrid. So for me, that I knew that going remote in the career that I was currently in was definitely not going to happen. So that was never going to be an option for me. There are other people who actually switch careers just because they want to be able to work remotely, people going into technology or people working online in various different industries, just so that they are not restricted by their career and which countries have the industries that their career is in. If you don't feel like there are any countries that you'd want to move to that have your particular career path and you can't go remote or you can't, you know, find another remote job, then the way that I did it, I first moved to Dubai with a job. I got my job first, and then I moved. But then I knew that if I really wanted to be location independent, which is something that for me was super important, to have location freedom, then I just made sure that I was financially independent first, which is basically having enough passive income through property to cover all of my necessary expenses, and I didn't need a job to be able to move around the world. That's basically what I teach on my course. So if that is something that interests you, if you kind of want to leave your job behind and have the freedom to maybe explore new career paths and do other things, because at least your necessary basics are covered through your other investments that you have, then definitely check out the course for that. But if lifestyle is more important to you, and maybe there is particular countries that you really just want to go to and you're not too fussed about what you actually do when you get there, one thing that's very popular, especially in Dubai when you speak to people, is a lot of people actually end up switching careers to career opportunities that are more popular within the field. So one of the areas that I really see this with in Dubai is real estate. A lot of people come from so many different industries around the world, but because they just want to be in Dubai and the lifestyle of experiencing a new country and being in Dubai in particular is so important for them, they go for jobs in real estate, because in real estate in Dubai, they tend to recruit a lot more on commission only type roles. So therefore, there's no real risk to these companies. So they recruit a lot more. And if you have a particular country in mind, then looking at what jobs are available within that country, if there are certain jobs or certain industries that are more popular, and then maybe reskilling yourself to prepare yourself to move to that industry. Teaching is another one that is really popular in Dubai as well, and they recruit a lot more. So you do see a lot of people moving into teaching and stuff like that in Dubai. But then also when it comes to lifestyle, you also have to think about other things, right? Think about how close you want to be to home. Do you want to move to a country where you at least know some people? How far is the flight's gonna be? Obviously, if money is a factor, then you have two ways to go about it, right? Maybe you want to experience living in a no tax country. There aren't that many countries that offer no taxes or very little taxes, especially if you still want to maintain a certain level of income. I personally wouldn't work in very many currencies. Yeah, that's something I would just put into ChatGPT as well and just say, you know, which countries offer no taxes? And then maybe if then career is important to you, then you look at that list and think which one of these countries does my industry exist in? And then if lifestyle is important to you, then which one of these countries does my industry exist in and has hot weather? I think if you're looking to lower your cost of living, I think it's a bit more of a tricky one to do, because usually having a lower cost of living usually means that the currency is a little bit weaker. So then you probably want to be in the bracket of being a remote worker or being someone who is financially independent. With whatever you decide, one thing that I would say is make sure you are patient and know that moving abroad isn't something that you can just do overnight, that just happens really quickly, especially if work and money is a consideration. These things do take time, and they do require a lot of investment. So whether you have to upskill yourself, get new certifications. I literally just came off a webinar that we did with the Professional Network, all about how to land your dream job in Dubai if you're in the technology sector. And one of the things are two, one who was a director and another one who was a project manager in Dubai said is that like certifications and stuff like that are important. So if
also with that said, before I continue this, certifications are like just like your LinkedIn branding. Like they matter here. Like, you know, I've had people tell me, why are you hiring people that have certifications? And I'm American, so I'm used to like, well, you know, they have the work experience. I don't think certifications are as big of a deal because they're all theoretical. But here it is a big deal. So the more certs you have in your specialty, the more you stand out, and the more they trust your credibility.
I think that trickles down to maybe the second point, which is the networking, but being targeted with the networking and coffee chats. And then lastly, the courses, like certs and courses for me is like the biggest thing, and just highlighting that. So yeah, those would be the big things.
Important. So if you have to upskill yourself to make sure that you are attractive in that new industry, or if you're trying to move industries, making sure that you have the necessary skills and qualifications to do that. And like I said, my journey to moving to Dubai, I think, is very unconventional. I made one application and I was able to get in. A year before that, maybe even 6 months before that, I did a 6 months long course with Harvard Business School online. After I'd already completed my degree at the LSE, I was still doing extra certifications. And so I feel like that was just a consequence of all of the stuff that I already had on my CV, upskilling myself. I didn't know that I was doing it for Dubai. I wasn't doing it for Dubai, but I was making myself as competitive as possible to make sure that when I do apply for jobs, it's a lot easier for me. So to summarize, I don't want this video to be long. I just kind of wanted to put some factors out there, because ultimately I can't tell you what to do, where you should go, but consider what's important to you: career, lifestyle, money. Do the necessary research that you need to do once you do narrow down your options, and get prepared for it to take time, and get ready to upskill and learn new things, learn about new countries, learn new languages if you have to. Check out my Skillshare link in the description box below. The first 500 people will get a free trial of Skillshare, and it's literally free, so you might as well upskill yourself with something that's free. Even if you're just gonna learn the knowledge on how to improve your CV, write your cover letter, learn about the industry. These are the things that you have to do to be competitive enough to move into a new field. It is not, even though I did make a video basically saying you have so many advantages if you are coming from the UK, etc., which you do. If you're coming from the West, if you're coming from the UK, you do have those advantages, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a walk in the park. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.